Been recording. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining. The attendees still growing a little bit, so let's give it another minute or so, and then we'll get started. I'm not seeing any more people joining, so let's get started. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining and visiting to see about the new online banking system we've put together. I'm Barstow. I'm with the partner that UBT has partnered with for Q2, and we've been working on this system for about the past year now. And we're really excited to bring it to you and show you all the new features. If you do have any questions, everyone's been muted, but go ahead and put them in the Q&A, and we will go ahead and make sure we respond to those. Okay? We want to make sure that this is for you. So definitely feel free to ask questions. It is being recorded as well. And we can go ahead and send that out once we're done, so you'll have it there. Right. Share. So if I did that right, you will see my new UBT login. Now you will be receiving an email with a lot of information. So there's a lot of information we're sending to you because we want to make sure that you're ready for this. So what we're doing is we are bringing you in for an early sneak preview, early session, limited pilot. So when you get this login, the system will be completely live. So we want to make sure that you know that this is a real live production system. We're letting you come in early so you could get used to the system, make sure you understand how it works. And because of that, you will use a different login for a little bit. Now, this will be starting right later this week. Next week, you'll use this login the link you will receive in your email until next month. Next month, you could use the regular UBT website, but right now, that will take you back to the old system. And we'd really like for you to use the new system. Okay, so the first time you log in, you will be using the same user ID and password. Okay, so it's the same user ID and password that you've been using. We've brought them over. So we want to go ahead and log in. It will ask me where to send the secure access code. That's that 6-digit code, right? So I'm gonna send my email. Now this is important. If you currently use a token to log in, you will have to go through and set up your token, and then you will only use the token again when you approve transactions. So we'll be talking about that in a little bit. But what will happen is after you log in, you'll just do the normal user ID and password token. Like I said, the first time you've got to set it up, it's going to ask you for a token code, and then it will say next token code. It doesn't tell you you need to wait for that token number to cycle. Can be confusing. So you want to go ahead and make sure you log in, got a token, you put the first token code in, you wait for it to cycle to the next one, then you put the second token code in. I've already logged in, but if for you at your first time, you will then be prompted to accept the disclaimer. There'll be a new disclaimer you have to accept. You will also be prompted to change your password. We brought the old one over for the first time, use that password. Second time, now you've got to change it, and then going forward, you want to use that new password whenever you log in. Now, once you do log in, this is what we call our unified user experience. So it's got the same look and feel no matter how you access the system, right? Whether that's mobile device, tablet, Windows laptop, Mac laptop, all going to have the same look and feel for it. And there will be a new mobile app coming out, and I've got some screenshots of that we can share in a little bit. So the first time you log in, you'll see across the top is the navigation rail or the menu. The middle has the work area, and the right is context sensitive, this right rail. Now, this is a test user. This user has all the bells and whistles. It's got all of the features. Your experience may be a little bit different depending what features and services you have. Although if you see any services here that you are interested in, by all means, let us know. We'd be glad to have a conversation about them. And so I see my accounts up here. It gives me my total balance across all of my accounts. Here it tells me my asset summary. If I want to organize my accounts, I can go ahead and create a new group for them. So I click insert my tile, put it in the inbox, it will create a new group for me. So maybe I want to have savings group and a check-in group. Put my savings group there, my check-in group up here. I can edit the name, collapse it, rearrange it, move it up, move it down. And this is customizable per user. So everyone can have a different look and feel when they log in. You can even move these tiles around. If you don't want that group anymore, go ahead and expand it, right out. And yes, let's go ahead and delete that group. So that's how I get to my accounts and my groups. These three dots are what the developers call the kebab menu. It's also called the action menu. That's where the good, fun, and interesting things happen inside the system. Let's go ahead and look at nickname account. So account nicknames will be coming over. So if you have nicknamed account, it will come over. And I could rename the account here. So if I want to call this my operations account, I can do that. Again, this is per user. So I could have different nicknames. So it means something to me, may not mean the same thing to someone else. Go ahead now and look at transactions. It's typically why people want to log in. Go ahead and click. Now, when you log in, there will be 24 months of history. They'll be loaded for you on day one. So there'll be all of your current transactions there, right? You don't have to start building from fresh. There's going to be lots of transactions there for you, so you could review. You see by default there in date descended order with my pending transactions up top. My debits have a parentheses, my credits do not. Pending, etc. up top and indicate they're pending. If I see this little attachment, this means that I could view something on it. There's something to view. For a check, I could title the details. I could view the check description. It says my check. If you need to print a check, maybe you've got someone asking for proof of payment. You paid them, you've got the check there. You could go ahead and just select print. And this will print it actually on UBT letterhead. So you don't have to go to the branch to get that copy of the check. And that's a really nice feature. Saves you that trip. can also go ahead and ask a question. Maybe this check cleared for $12 and maybe it was supposed to be $112. And here's the secure messages. We'll talk more about secure messages in a little bit, but I could put in my message. It's got already information about this. It tells me the account number, description, put in my message, and I could also place an attachment. So if I have a photo of the check, I could say, hey, this was $112. I could attach the photo. And the secure messages are completely secure. It does not go out to the open internet. It's strictly within the online banking system. And I should search my transactions. This is a basic search right here. Let's look for funds transfer. I type in fund, and we'll do a search on my transactions and bring back to me my basic. We have a more advanced search, and that's this funnel, this filter. I could select a time period, type whether it's debit, credit, pending, or posting, amounts, and even check numbers. So if you want to do a check reconciliation, you can go ahead and put the check numbers in, and you can go ahead and apply the filters, and it'll filter out exactly what you're looking for. Here's the transactions I'm interested in. Now let's go ahead and jump over to this one, the export. So we have multiple ways for you to export the transactions. We've got spreadsheet, OFX, QFX. We've got lots of ways for you to export the transactions. Now the export works with the filter. So if I have transactions filtered out like this, filter applied, and I do an export, it will export the filtered transactions. Then coming back to my checks that I want to try and reconcile, I've got them filtered out to specific check number ranges. I can go ahead and export them, and I will get specifically those checks that I am interested in. Okay. One more, it's print and ask a question. And then print works with the filters. So if you have transactions filtered, do a print, it will print what's been filtered. If you do not have a filter applied and you print or export, it will print or export what transactions are on the screen. So if you have scrolled down, you've got 100 transactions, it's going to give you those 100 transactions. Then we have asked a question. And this is about my account. Gives me the account number. I have to go ahead, again, attach any attachments, documentation I need, and send that on. We skipped over this, but let's take a look at quick transfer. This is a funds transfer that applies to the account I'm looking at. And so it goes ahead and says, want to go ahead and deposit into this account because need some funds, and I have to go ahead and make that deposit. We'll look at transfers more pretty shortly. We also have details and settings. I can see my details, my nickname again, if I want to remove my nickname, whether or not it's visible on the home screen. I can turn that off if I don't want to see it. And I'll show you later on where you can go to turn those back on. And I can also print these details. Any questions on the basic logging in or transactions? Go ahead and take a look at send money. Now we've made these labels really user friendly for you. So let's see if I want to send money. Got multiple ways. I can do an internal transfer. Now, transfers are not coming over. You will need to set up all of your transfers again. So if you have return transfers, you will need to set those up again. And we'll talk about recurrent transactions in a little bit for that. Here's how I could do funds transfers. Here's my one account, the other account. Now, it's $1. How often do I want to do it? I have lots of options: weekly, quarterly, semi-annually. Lots of dates. I could push this way out into the future. Like, I could draft or approve it. Let's go ahead and draft this one. We also have multi-account transfers. Then you may not have multi-account transfers, but if you do, we put on transfer funds. You can have same transfer date or different transfer dates. And one memo, we could have different memos on each one. Use the same funding account. I could use different funding accounts. So however I'd like to set this up, I set up my transfers. Different dates. It's out to next year, so plenty of time. Cancel them because I don't want to. Let's go ahead and approve that. It's my funds transfers. They are processed in the order that you enter them in on the screen here. So if you do need to fund an account, you want to do that one first. As if you're making a large credit, so you can make several debits off of that, put that one in first because we process them in the order they're entered. Okay. We'll also do a template as well, which a template here, and you'll see when we talk about wires too, a template is just a predefined set of payments. Okay. Transfer, I want to go from one account to an account for a penny. Now I want to go from this account to this other account for a penny. Save it. Now here's my templates. Go ahead and make that funds transfer. Yes, there's transfer funds. And now here's my transfer date. I could send it out. If I have a template, and this will apply to wires too, and we look at that. If I don't want to pay them all, I could choose pay none, and then just pay the ones I want to pay. We'll see here we do have draft and approve button. Talk about them in a few minutes when we start looking at wires. But it's a way draft means someone else has to approve it, and approve means you could approve it. Usually not set up for transfers. Like I said, it's a test account. So this one has send money. Loan payments. We do have multiple choices for you. I don't have any loans on this, but there will be multiple payment options as well, such as interest only, etc. You just set it up on this page and choose clearance to submit to make your loan payment. Let's go ahead and we're going to jump down a couple. So let's talk about UBT to UBT. I'll come back to some of the others. So UBT to UBT, this is how I can send money to another customer who banks at UBT. I cannot withdraw money from them, but I can send money to them. So if I've got, maybe it's my business, I need to transfer funds to my personal account. I could go ahead and link my personal account and transfer funds over. Or maybe you've got a small business and you want to accept payments this way, you could do that as well. We've got a single, which is that one time, and link. You'll also need to know some information about that account to make that link. And let's go ahead and have Zelle, which you can do that with your Zelle. Click on Zelle. I'll open up the Zelle. This one. It does not have Zelle. It's got the tile, but you will have Zelle there too. Ignore pass through. Look at recipients now.
Hey, Law,
And
can I just add something?
sure.
This is Megan with the bank, everybody. Just a comment on Zelle. That tile's out there because this is kind of our show and tell user, but Zelle will not be available next week when you log in. It will be coming soon though. So just if you don't see that, that's why, but it is a new feature of the system we're excited about. It'll just be available probably in the next month or so.
Hey, thank you, Megan.
Yep.
That's a really good point Megan just brought up of, remember, this is the show and tell. It's got everything on it. We'll see features. May not be working yet, still in development. So if your experience is a little bit different, then that's why. And so we have this concept of recipient. This is a person I am sending money, sending wires to outside the bank. It's not funds transfer right inside the bank. I can use the UBT to UBT, but this is done externally. We're not bringing over recipients. You will be getting a report that you need to, of all your recipients and your templates, you will need to recreate all of them. And the reason why is because there's an update done to the wire payment system where there's now required information about about wire recipients that was not required previously. So this is a legal change that was done and changed the wire payment system. So none of those recipients had that information. So we will be giving you a report with what we do have about them, and you will need to recreate them. But if I want to do my recipient, choose new recipient. A few things to note on here. Display name is how it appears to me. So this is my recipient. If this is my paper goods supplier, I can put that in. Email address. If I were to go ahead and send them an email when a payment is made, the system will do that. It does not contain any confidential data. It just says there's been a payment made. Let's choose wire. If it's international or domestic, right? International is going outside the country and domestic is not. Then the account number. And I don't need to know that ABA number anymore because that is here. So I could type in the information. Maybe my recipient banks at Chase. Chase. Now, if they banked at Chase would, I'd be sad because I just choose Chase would. But they banked at Chase, so there's a lot of JP Morgan Chases. I need to narrow this down. Let's choose a fine search. Chase, I want to choose Florida. You'll see that depending on the recipient, they even have different ABA numbers depending on for ACH. I want to choose my correct one. Let's go ahead and choose this one over in, let's go to Delray Beach. you'll notice it populates the information for the bank too. So it populates all of this information here. And we were lacking a lot of these details previously. Green, so it means it's happy now. This wire name here is what travels with the payment. So this might be Florida paper products. But this is the one that goes with the wire itself. This is how it refers to, for me, how I see it in the system. And then the address. I'm going to save that recipient. You do need to change the recipient. You can edit the recipient as well. You can delete them. And once you've made some payments to them, you should see the payment history. Edit. Because if they have another account, we could also add multiple accounts. Usually that doesn't happen with wires, but you do have that ability as well. Any questions on the recipients? Go ahead. Now we've got recipients now. Let's go ahead and come back to the payment hub. So this is where we make that payment, and this is where that comes into play. I want to make sure that we've got all our recipients created, and we can make payments to them. I click on new payment. Now to choose domestic wire. Populate the account I want to send it from. This may also be populated for you ahead of time. Again, it depends on how you're set up and your services. Process date. This is the date I want the wire to go at. So next year, and then this is production. I want to cancel that. Here's my recipient. Now, notice the summary purpose of wire is required. So this is for February paper. It's about February 12th. I could include some information as well. You'll see this goes message beneficiary. This goes with the wire, right? This field is used to provide wire description, whereas does not travel with the payment. Now we've got this draft and approve again. Okay. Now draft can be misleading. It does not mean I can change my payment. It means that the payment is ready to go. So this means talk about dual control, where one person drafts, one person approves. Instead of draft, think of this more like submit or maybe initiate. That's probably a better explanation for the draft. And then approve. Depending on how you're set up, you might be able to just approve or you might need to draft. Go to press draft. Tells me it's available in Activity Center. We'll go there in just a moment. Let's look at templates. I'm going to do a new template. Right, a template is a predefined collection of payments. Template. Recipient. Paper goods. Save. So if you'll be doing a payment over and over to a recipient, template is a nice feature. Here's my payment there. I can go ahead and pay. I've got to update my purpose of wire. If any new information, put in the new amount. I should draft or approve. Make this a recurrent one. So this is something that's recurrent. I want to send it next month. I want to send it every monthly after that. I want to go forever. Draft that. Now let's take a look at these payments in Activity Center. Any questions before we jump into Activity Center about how to create a wire, how to create a recipient? Okay. Here we have our online activity. There'll be, this is linked in multiple places, right? So we've got, you'll be coming in here a lot. This is where you view your transactions that have processed and have gone through. If you are an approver, you will see this is where you go to approve a transaction. Right? Go ahead and hit approve this. Going to see the information about it. On information, and it tells me, who created this, purpose of the wire, the address of the recipient, where it's going. So I have to go ahead and approve this wire if I'd like to. One thing you want to note is tokens. Remember we talked about tokens briefly? Now there will be a new token software that you will be receiving instructions on how to download and how to link it. Once you have that token, you will then use that token when you approve a transaction. And so if you're just drafting one or initiating one, you don't need that token. If you're just logging in, you need it the first time. Second time, you don't need to log in. You don't need it at login. That it's only for when you approve the payment. Now, if I check multiple and choose approve, it's one token code. As one token code, I've got two payments selected. I want to approve selected. Also choose appear, approve selected, one token code. If I check one and choose approve, one token code. Then I check another and choose approve, another token code. So it's a token each time for each approval action. So here, click approve on one, choose another, and click approve, two tokens. I've got two selected, and approve selected, it's one token. So it's something, a little bit of efficiency for you to remember. Talk about approvals. You'll notice my date on here is my process date is 2016 next year. If you see something drafted, if you're an approver and you see something drafted, when you log in, there's no approval, it's not there at all. First thing you want to do is check the process date. Because what will happen is the wire cutoff time is still 3:30 p.m. If a wire was submitted for today, say I want to send this wire today, no one approves it until 4 p.m. They can't approve it anymore. Because the wire cutoff time's passed. The wire cannot be processed on March 10th, 2025. It has to roll into tomorrow. So if you create a wire after cutoff time, you can't choose today. Remember, this is after cutoff time. You can't choose today. If you're approving a wire after cutoff time, won't give you the approval. So you always want to check that process date. Because if the process date is today and it's after cutoff, or it's in the past, it won't let you approve it. Because it's an expired transaction. Now, what you can do is you'll need to go ahead and copy that transaction. You want to cancel it and copy it. Just remember when I said that when you draft a transaction or initiate one, you can't change it anymore. Draft sounds like I could come back and make some edits. I can't. It's set and ready to go. The only thing the approver can do is approve it. I have to cancel it, approve it, and I can't change it. If I want to copy it, always suggest cancel it so it doesn't accidentally get approved. It's also will comes out of your approval list. You could copy it. Fix my details. And approve it. Month. Any questions about that, about approving? There's a lot more I could do in here as well. Got my funds transfers. I've looked at details here. I've got filter. I could apply if I want to look for just specific transactions, specific statuses or accounts, and certain dates. And if I want to go ahead and make that a favorite, my wires, I'll just save it in favorites. I'll put wires. And I should have a favorite of wires. This will apply that filter. Also export here, where I can export my transactions and print as well. I'll print those a list of transactions. Let's go ahead and create a return funds transfer. I need to show you something about return transactions. Transfer date. Tomorrow. We want this to return. State of the month. River. Back in. Let's go back to our activity center. Notice this return transaction has these errors telling me it's recurring. Notice it's under the single transactions tab. It's also under the recurring transactions tab. Here's my payment. As each payment comes due, it moves into the symbol. Not like the old time loan booklets where you rip off the coupon every month. Coupon booklet, and here's each individual payment coupon. But if you see that, it does not mean it's going through twice. With how the system shows it. So I could cancel this transaction. I could cancel the whole series of them. So this is the parent, and this was the child, as each one comes off. Now remember, return transactions, transfers are not coming over. Return transfers, you will need to set them up again. I'd also see if I've got remote deposit. Any deposited checks will be here as well. Any questions on the activity center? Moving right on. Let's go ahead and pretty much covers it on the send money. Let's look at receive money now. It's more fun. So we've got desktop teller. If you do have the remote deposit capture, desktop banner, you can get to it from here. We'll have that login for you, so you could do it right from inside. Payment hub brings us back to our wires. Let's go back. And online activity center. Familiar with online activity center as well. And over to risk and reporting. Got some good features in here for you. If you use positive pay, you'll be able to do most of what you need to do in positive pay, like entering your checks, your issue check files, plus doing your exceptions. That is all right here. You don't need to log into the full system. If there is something you need to do in a full system, you press then launch advanced options and it'll log you in to the full system. But for most of what you do, you'll be able to do it right here in online banking. So it's then streamlining your workflow for you. Any questions on the positive pay? This is reporting on our tab. We have a stop payment.
We did have a question come through, Law, about desktop teller, just where it's located, and is there anything else that's new about it?
Is under receive money, desktop teller.
And so again, this is just our kind of show and tell environment. So it's not single signing you into the current desktop teller system, but it will. So you'll click on that send money, and then you'll click on desktop teller, and then it's taking you into the exact same system we have today. So nothing new to learn there, just where to go.
Thank you, Megan.
Yeah.
Also stop payments. So if you do need to make a stop payment, there's a fee for it, and we've got your account and multiple checks, and you just request your stop. So we'll check multiple checks, number, and you could do a stop payment. As well as if you want to request your statements, these also will be over in the risk and reporting and the statements, the account and the statement, and you can view the document. If you have already enrolled for paperless statements, e-statements, you don't need to do anything. That will come over for you. Go back to reporting. As well as we have again our online activity center. And if you if you're taking out a loan from us and you need to sign some documents, upload some documents, provide verifications of income, etc., you do that through the wholesale loan portal as well. Down to settings. On our settings, here's where I can change my password. If I want to change my password, I can also change my statement delivery preferences. So if I'm receiving paper statements and I want to go to e-statements, this is where I'd make that change. I can also update my login ID. That's that login name that I used to log in. So if you want to change yours, you can go ahead and do that. It does need to be unique at UBT, but then you could go ahead and change it. Two-factor authentication. This is that SAC target, secure access code, that 6-digit code that we send you. Remember, don't give that ever to anyone else. If you want to change where that goes, you could do that here. Homepage preferences. You can turn off some of these widgets here as well. Let's talk about widgets for a moment, because I mentioned them. It should start making sense now. Remember when we logged in? Have our widgets here. So if I have transactions to be approved, I could do this here. Right? When I log in, just log in, there's my approval, it's right there. Want to view the details of it, I could do that as well. Gives me the details, and I could close or approve it. Or if I want to go ahead and view an activity center. Here it is. That's my widgets. If I'm sending an international wire, I can also check the currency here and what the conversion rates are. If I'm doing positive pay and I have exceptions, they'll be listed here as well. There's my little widgets. And up top, we have our transfer money line. So these are just shortcuts. Settings and manage accounts. Remember, we saw the accounts, you could turn it off. And now, if you hit it from the home screen, you could go back into manage accounts and you could enable it from the home screen. Or to. And then on services, you may also have these data points you can choose to. And it depends on your what you subscribe to. If you have this, select what two you want to choose, and it will give you those two. Otherwise, it defaults to available balance. And accessibility mode if you need the high contrast. That's messages. It tells me I've got 3 secure messages up here. I read each one. It tells me my security alert. I could delete it. I could delete multiple if I want, but I click down here and I could delete multiple. Well, to send a new message. Put a new message. I can choose my recipient. Maybe I've got a new token. I need to send that token ID. Go to my subject, my message, my token information, and send it. Just remember, this is entirely secure. Again, never goes out to the open internet, strictly in online banking. Look at alert settings. Now, alerts are a new feature, and you'll notice I've got a few things here. I've got security alerts. Some of these um, are turned on that I cannot turn off. Alert me when a new user is created. Alert me when my security alert preferences have changed. Alert me when my profile is updated. So we think you want to know those. Those are important things that you should know about. Have others like alert me when the forgot password. So alert me when external transfer is authorized. Turned on, but you can turn it off. We have some that are turned off, but you can turn on. Let me when a computer browser is successfully registered. You can turn that on if you'd like. These alerts go in these edit delivery preferences. This is where the alerts go to. So if you want to say where they get an email or a call or a text, you could set that up here. This is not the standard alerts. And you'll see, so we always get the secure message for it. You can also get an email on it. You can also get a text message on it. That's the security alerts. We have other alerts as well. We have account alerts. So this is my account. Maybe I want to know what my current balance is. I want to get every day. I want to get an alert, text message, and it'll text me my balance every day. Go back to alerts. Oh, let's do a history alert. Once a transaction has posted to the account and cleared, I should get an alert for it. Maybe I want to know when a specific check number has cleared. Maybe you made a payment and you want to know when it cleared to get that alert. You could get alerts for specific credits or anytime there's a specific word in the description. And so you get those alerts. Here's my account and my alert delivery me. Back to alerts. Alerts. You also have the online transaction alert. So maybe you are an approver on wires and you want to be alerted when a wire has been created. Use domestic wire. the account. I want to know when it has been drafted. This means it is ready to be approved. And I'll get a text message on it. If you want multiple deliveries, if you want a text and an email, you do have to set up 2 alerts. For my number, agree to my terms, I could create the alert. Well, to know when one has been approved, do that as well. And failed in process are also good. If something happened, for some reason your wire did not go through, you'd want to know if it's failed, you could do that. We also have our locations, the online documentation, the help, which will have some user guides and some demos, the business banking that will be here accessible to you as well. Any questions about anything? Is there anything you wanted to see and didn't? If not, then let's go ahead and change over. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Share some screenshots of the new mobile app. So, this is coming. I grabbed some screenshots to show you what will look like. So this is my homepage when I log in. Remember how I talked about how we try to have the same look and feel that you from the mobile app as you can do online. Mobile app, when you log in, the menu looks very similar. I could do remote deposit. There's the RDC. I click remote deposit. It gives me my number. I account. I take my picture of my check, and I could do that. I can also do positive pay here as well. So if you choose the visitor reporting menu, you can do your exceptions and from your mobile app, which is really a nice feature. Put on my exceptions, so I could list my account, search my exceptions, and I could go ahead and add a check too. So if I wrote a check, I'm out somewhere, I could just go ahead and add my known check to the mobile app, and it goes into positive pay. And finally, we have our send money, right? Same look and feel, transfers, loans, Zelle, payment hub. Here's something that's really nice. You could do wires from the mobile app as well. So you're out somewhere and you've got a supplier calling you, they need money, the check got lost in the mail, you should send a wire from the mobile device. You don't need to be on a laptop or a desktop. You can do it right from the mobile app. And my destination, same look and feel, like I said. Any questions? Got anything that we want to go through again or go over?
Haven't seen anything else come through the Q&A. I did just want to say before we wrap up, and please feel free to drop anything in while I'm talking. Like Law has mentioned, you have gotten a lot of communication from us already. There's more to come. You'll be getting more this week and some next week. We would love your feedback. So there will be some communication asking if there are things you like about the system, anything that you think we should tweak. We'd love to hear from you and get your feedback so we can make changes to make it as best as we possibly can. So appreciate everybody being our group that gets in first.
Thank you, Megan.
Yeah. I don't see anything else coming through. Feel free to reach out if you think of anything.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. I'll stop the recording and we'll end the